Al Jazeera's Libby Casey is live at the White House. Libby, good morning. Today's incident involving the Russian jet only adds to the tensions in the region we're hearing. What are U.S. officials saying this morning about the incident?
It certainly does, Stephanie. Al Jazeera America has just learned from a U.S. defense official that they have heard from Turkish allies about this shooting down of the Russian jet. And the wording here is specific, that the military jet was shot down near the Syrian border after it violated Turkish airspace. Now, the U.S. official says no U.S. military aircraft were involved in this incident at all. This certainly does add to the urgency of today's meeting between French President Francois Hollande and President Obama. Now, President Hollande comes to this meeting with an aggressive stance, hoping to walk away with some assurances from the President of the United States, not just of an alliance, of a cooperation, but of some substance.
A relationship centuries old. U.S. leaders have called France America's oldest ally.
France is America's oldest friend, our first ally.
The Statue of Liberty, a symbol of that friendship. Now, French President Francois Hollande is asking the international community to work together in the wake of this month's attacks in Paris.
These actions confirm once again that we are at war. A war against terrorists who themselves brought war to us.
The Paris attacks thrusting France and Hollande into the center of the fight against ISIL.
He's taking, let's say, a much greater role and much greater leadership within this international community.
Hollande may call for more weapons in the hands of rebels and information sharing about Syrian targets.
This intelligence has only been shared after the Paris attacks, and this is what allowed France to undertake these strikes against Raqqa.
And scholar Joseph Behout says Hollande would like to be united with President Obama before the French leader's next stop, Russia.
Don't forget that after Washington, François Hollande is moving to Moscow, and this will be probably the most important part of the visit, of the trip. And this is why also I think that what François Hollande is expecting is to really have a clear pledge by his American counterpart, President Barack Obama, to really have a firmer stance on the next meetings of Vienna with the Russians.
Vienna talks over Syria's future have been stymied by a major impasse, the future of President Bashar al-Assad, who Russia wants to keep in power. And the French remember 2013, when President Obama backed off threatening Assad despite his use of chemical weapons.
We have been very clear to the Assad regime, but also to other players on the ground, that a red line for us is we start seeing a whole bunch of chemical weapons moving around or being utilized. That would change my calculus. That would change my equation.
Learning from that red line, France is now intent on building coalitions, not just with its longtime American ally, but other nations concerned about ISIL.
Stephanie, of course, the French president meets this week not only with President Obama and the Russian President Vladimir Putin, he also meets with German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and he's certainly hoping to get all these players on board. But watch today for President Obama to have concerns about working with the Russians, certainly not interested in making concessions regarding sanctions or activity in Ukraine as part of a broader Syria deal.
And of
Stephanie?
course, this incursion into Turkish airspace may play into all those conversations. Libby Casey at the White House, thank you. And we will carry President Obama's and President Hollande's news conference at 11:30 this morning.